From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
And good afternoon. Thanks for joining us on the Noon News. I'm Andrea Lutz. New at noon, Yellowstone County health officials are trying to get the word out surrounding a vaccine mix-up after as many as 100 people got shorted from a second vaccine dose in Billings. Here's what we know so far. Those receiving that second shot at Wednesday's Shrine Auditorium Clinic from 8 a.m. to 8:45 are impacted. Yellowstone County Health Officer John Felton says a mistake was made and patients got shorted. Right now, the Unified Health Command is waiting on word from the CDC on how to proceed, but as for now, officials are reaching out to folks. Billings health officials say the first dose does offer about 80% immunity. The pharmacist who drew that incorrect dose is no longer working at that vaccine clinic. And this afternoon, a suspect remains on the run after a shooting in Bighorn County that left a man severely injured. Officials say the suspect is Fabian Cruz Dawes, a Native American with multiple felonies for drug possession. He is 5'11" with a medium build and several visible tattoos. Anyone with information is asked to contact the Bureau of Indian Affairs or the Bighorn County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so following the shooting, Bighorn County Attorney Jay Harris released this statement, essentially saying county residents have his support if they need to use a firearm on, quote, drug-addicted punks that come onto their property. He said this stands until more effective efforts are made by law enforcement. An expert witness for prosecutors in the Derek Chauvin murder trial say the former officer used another pain technique against George Floyd. Sergeant Jody Steiger testified the technique was used on Floyd's hand, a maneuver meant to get someone to comply with police. He said it was in this case, it was just pain. And other witnesses who took the stand, including two scientists processing the stains and other evidence from George Floyd's vehicle, testifying that substances found in the vehicle contained small amounts of fentanyl and meth. Chauvin faces second and third degree murder charges along with a manslaughter charge. This afternoon, firefighters battling a wildfire near Dixon hope the rain and snow could help their efforts. Tribal fire officials say Montana Rail Link was cutting rail about 5 miles west of Dixon when wind gusts spread sparks, causing that fire Wednesday afternoon. As of last night, the blaze had grown to over 100 acres and was moving east along the river and railroad track. No structures are threatened right now, but about 25 CSKT Division of Fire personnel are working this fire. A Missoula male is recovering following a very tricky rescue after being trapped inside a silo and buried to his neck in sand. Crews with Missoula Fire responded to an area on Rogers Street to find that victim inside a 30-foot tall silo. The victim buried in sand only with his face exposed. The age of that victim was not disclosed, but approximately was 25 feet below the only entrance, which is a small manhole near the top of the silo. Emergency responders had to use a pulley system, then a vacuum to remove some of that sand from around the victim. After about 2.5 hours, he was freed, taken to the hospital, but were unsure about the extent of injuries. Well, the CDC director says remote learning could be a thing of the past by September. Rochelle Walensky anticipates all schools reopening regardless of whether children are vaccinated. As teachers are being vaccinated, other measures can provide a safe learning environment. And she also expects some children to be eligible for vaccines by early summer. Pfizer recently said its vaccine is safe for some children of certain ages. Well, so far numbers show nationwide students are not returning to the classroom. A survey released by the Biden administration shows 46% of schools resumed full-time classes, but only 34% of students returned. The study also showing the Biden administration remains far from its goal of having nearly every elementary school open 5 days a week within its first 100 days. That number is only at about 50%. Checking in now on the weather with Miller Robson. I know, again, some of those fire crews are really hoping that things kind of cool down a little bit for them.
Absolutely. We do have that cold front that's pushing through. It's already bringing some snow and rain into the state, and we're not done yet. As we take a live look at the Doppler radar, you can see that cold front is having its effect. And let's take a look at those temperatures out there. Actually, let me back that up. I'll tell you this in just a bit, but I want to go into the temperatures. You can see on the western side of the state, already starting to see that cold air filter in where we've got 40s, even some 30s down in Butte. Eastern side not affected yet. We see temperatures in the 60s, but those numbers will drop as the day goes on and this cold front pushes through. The good news is it doesn't last long. We've got a really nice Friday on the way, but does that translate to a nice weekend? I'll let you know with the main forecast straight ahead. Andrea.
Thanks, Miller, so much. Animal enthusiast, zookeeper, and part-time Montana resident Jack Hanna has been diagnosed with dementia and is retiring from public life. In a letter released Wednesday, Hannah's daughter stated their dad's diagnosis is Alzheimer's disease and his condition has progressed quickly. Hannah is well known for his live animal demonstrations on TV. He's hosted multiple shows like Jack Hanna's Animal Adventures. He was the director of the Columbus Zoo and still serves as the director emeritus. Hannah owns property on Flathead Lake. Montana's Fish and Wildlife Commission is voting to possibly cap the number of commercially guided trips on the Madison River beginning in 2022. Commissioners approved a measure to allow a 12-member group of stakeholders to fine-tune some recommendations for rulemaking and to give that group time to come up with those recommendations. Commissioners voted to delay the start date of commercial use until 2023. Advocates say it's a step backward, but area guides say the time is needed to get the rules right. Before any rules are adopted, though, the public will get to weigh in with an official opening of a public comment period. The long pandemic is giving people cabin fever, and those in Montana's fly fishing and guiding businesses say they expect to benefit from this summer. Web traffic for searches for flights to recreational destinations like Montana has increased in recent months, and fly shops near the Big Hole River are seeing increase in business and more people booking their trips. An unsightly area at Zoo Montana and Billings will soon get a much-needed upgrade. Construction is scheduled to start this summer on the Foster Waterfowl Refuge. It will serve as a fly-in habitat for migratory birds, and its waters will be home to some of Montana's native fish species. The Waterfowl Refuge project is expected to cost $900,000, but 80% of that should be paid for through private donations from organizations like Ducks Unlimited or Phillips 66. Zoo Montana says the refuge will improve the look of the space and allow staff to educate everyone on the species of habitat. We do have more ahead on today's Noon News, including how a Montana winery is getting back to normal with a first live music event. That story's ahead in our Rebound report. But first, Miller's back in with a look at that statewide weather forecast.